Hey, how's it going? I'm Dan Fradenburgh. I'm a real estate guy, and this is Chess with Investors. All right, and I'm joined with Sandhya today. Sandhya, you are white, so you need to move, or else it's going to auto abort. So you're going to have to figure that out. But after our first couple moves, then we have a much lower level of stress. But how are you doing today, Sandhya?
I'm doing great. How about you, Dan?
I'm fantastic. Thank you for asking. And all right, so you're starting off. That's actually one of my favorite openings too. Let's try this. Okay, excellent. So I want to give some background as far as Chess with Commercial Real Estate Investors. Right now it says Chess with Investors on the logo. You can see, and you might be thinking, well, what's that all about? Well, we're gaining a little bit of popularity here, which is fantastic as far as I'm concerned. But sometimes I get some investors who aren't specifically in real estate. But Sandhya is the real deal. She's got it. She even teaches about operations. She actually is doing the apartment investing and all that kind of fun stuff with getting her hands dirty. Sandhya, do you want to introduce yourself a little bit before we?
Yes, I'm a Dallas-based apartment investor. In my previous life, I was an engineer and I also still trade stocks. And now I'm fully into multifamily based in the Dallas area where I've lived for over 34 years. So I really know my market. So I'm a market expert. I'm focused on actually managing the asset after it closes until I return all the money back to investors. So that is important to me. And for that reason, I am the real deal in terms of doing underwriting, asset management, raising capital, all of it. So I can jump in with teams on whichever aspect it is that we need the most help.
Excellent, excellent. So, and we've known each other for a few years. You've already been on my Chance Encounters podcast, which is where I really find out, what's your level of sophistication, appetite for risk, and all that kind of stuff. It's great to have an opportunity to chat with people like you, Sandhya, where like I'd do it even if it wasn't for the audience's sake.
Hmm.
But your background was in electrical engineering, I
Hmm.
recall, and whenever I have electrical engineers, I like to act like it
Hmm.
gives some sort of trauma.
Hmm.
The course on imaginary numbers, that tends to be one that freaks
Yeah.
people out a little bit. But numbers that don't exist, why would that stop us?
Yep.
But that's fun. So let's see here. All right, and you'll notice that playing chess and holding a conversation is quite difficult. But
Yeah, it can be quite a challenge for sure.
for sure, for sure. And how's the weather out in Dallas today?
It's cloudy. It's a lot cooler than it typically is. It's only high in the 80s. So I know it
Nice.
could be far worse than what it actually is today. So I like that.
Right on, right on. I think you've met my real estate and tax attorney friend, Lauren Cadillac, in Dallas. I'm not sure if you have or not, but she's actually going to come up. We're going to do some recording, some content recording, and a few other things. Actually, in another week or so, she's coming up to Ottawa from Dallas.
Wow.
So yeah, and that's to get out of the heat,
Very
which is
cool.
kind of funny. But I think we're like low 80s today. I know like a couple weeks ago we had some days in the 90s, but
Okay.
there you go. So
Yeah.
and so where did you learn chess, Sandhya?
I learned it at home with my dad, and then I played it with friends in school, etc. So that's kind of how I got into chess. And it's a good game of strategy, helps you focus, and it's so similar to a lot of things you need to be doing when you do multifamily investing. So I
Hmm.
think it ties very well together.
I agree. I agree. And when I first came up with this idea, it seems a bit quirky. I know I'm like one of the more creative people in this space, but you get some people like out in Houston. I like to pick on Ethan Gao, for example, because when there's some fun going on, he's kind of the type of guy who'd be like, "Okay, how does this make me money again?"
Hmm.
And with that being the more or less the norm around here, I wasn't entirely sure if this was a great idea, a real winner or not, but as long as we're having fun, I think.
Yeah, exactly. I think if you're having fun, that's pretty much all that matters. And if you don't enjoy what you're doing, it might be time for a change to figure out what you do enjoy doing, right?
Yeah, I love that, and actually, it's kind of funny. So I was a guitar teacher at the local music store starting when I was 16, and one thing that I was huge into was hanging out with people who were far older than I was, and one of the things that kept on coming up is, oh, do what you love, and the money will
Mhm.
follow. That's what I kept on hearing, and let's see, is that how I want to do it? Or is that how I want to do it? This is about to get real right here. It's
I think you're going to make a good move. I just feel it. I think you are well positioned. And
let's
it's going to
see,
be fun. But that's the
for
thing
sure.
about chess and real estate is, you have to position yourself by starting out right.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
then from there, you go on to making the right moves, and try to do as much as you can that is independent of outside circumstance. You're almost developing a sheet, like how you did this castle in your move, right? That helps you, therefore, protect your king, right? That's a
Mm-hmm.
very good strategy because then you can now take your troops and go on an attack mode, which makes it very handy.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Leaving your king in the center of the board is it's not recommended.
Yep.
It's okay. Am I going to do that? Looks like we're going to be doing a closed game.
So yeah, let the games begin. We've been playing for a little bit, and it's like you got another 90 seconds to beat me. So I just got to protect myself for 90 seconds, right?
Well, it's no, you got 12 minutes and 58 seconds. I got 13 and a half minutes. So we don't want to stress anybody out, right? But that actually another funny thing that has been going on though is I'm gonna have to do that. I think I'm gonna have to do that. Yeah, yeah, yeah. How am I gonna work this? I think I'd rather do this. Right. So one thing that I did that was kind of supposed to be a quirky thing that I'm starting to stay away from it. Originally, I added a bunch of sound effects whenever there's a capture, like if somebody, like if a bishop captures a knight, it sounds like a guy getting whacked in the face like with a shovel, and
Yeah.
that's kind of nice for those of us who maybe have troubles concentrating, but for those of us that don't have issues
Hmm.
concentrating, it could be a problem. Okay, so now, yeah, let's do it. But yeah, where was I going with the? Oh yeah. I was talking about do what you love, and the money will follow. One of the problems I had with that is of course, well, what if it's guitar? I remember as a guitar teacher, one of the jokes I heard was there are two guys walking down the road. One of them was broke. No, I just completely messed it up because it's yeah, one of them's a musician, the other one's broke too. Is how it's supposed to go. So, good job on me for completely ruining that joke. But huh? Oh, okay. Yeah, that's all right. Yeah, that had me concerned for a second until I saw that I don't have to move my queen. Okie dokie. That's a free pawn. Yeah, it's definitely getting real here. But yeah, so that's so
So once I
when it
touch
came
it,
to
that's what I got to move, right?
I sorry, I didn't catch your question. When what happens, you have to move.
On chess, I had a more chess related question about,
Hmm.
um, you know, once you touch a coin, is that what you got to move each time? Or, in
Oh,
regular, if you're strict with your rules, that's kind of how it works.
it is how it works, and on this one, no, you can click one piece and then switch over to another.
Okay. So in commercial real estate, when it comes to acquisitions, a lot of people overpaid for their properties when they
Hmm.
acquired it in 2021 and 2022. And that's why you are seeing the problems now that have surfaced and therefore resulted in deals going under.
Hmm.
And so you got to be really careful about your acquisition, the price you pay, and the right debt structure, etc., so that you don't overpay for something and end up with a deal going bad. And I don't think
Hmm.
people have thought about the price they pay at acquisition, because I'm seeing even now deals floating around for which people are overpaying and
Hmm.
in getting excited about new acquisitions again because they've been, waiting for a while. And because of that, they are still interested in overpaying for deals. I still haven't seen a deal that penciled smartly.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, yeah, I know exactly what you mean. And just so people in the audience are clear, when it comes to overpaying, the fact is, you're buying the building because of the revenue that it generates,
Hmm.
and it should generate more money than it costs to run it.
Hmm.
And so if you go to the point where I'm trying not to be technical and I'm failing
Hmm.
here, so I'll just lay it out there. So the cash on cash or cap rate is what you ought to be looking at, and if you're paying more than the cap rate in your area, you're just getting a raw deal. You're just overpaying, and it's tough. The fear of missing out, the FOMO is real, and I've seen all sorts of that because I just got in just at the right time to see everybody scramble and make terrible decisions. Okay, so then, oh, okay, so now, yeah, that's not free anymore. Okay, let's try this. But yeah, it's definitely a tough situation to really get your head around on how exactly do you make sure that you're making great decisions. And I'm having some difficulty with that on this next move. Let's see. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, that's what I should do. I should stack. All right. Hmm. It's funny too, though. Another thing that's gone on is because I've done so much editing in my life. Usually when you've got some sort of video content, you have to make sure that the volume is right and you have no dead spots, or else that's an indicator that probably your microphone failed or something like that.
Hmm.
But in chess, no,
Hmm.
no, we just might be sitting here thinking about it. Yikes. Yeah, I think I have to do that. But yeah, I'm having a lot of fun with this whole topic. It's a little bit out there, and I guess chess is another example of one of those things where, like, as a child, I really enjoyed the game.
Hmm.
I actually grew up in a pretty small town, so I ran out of opponents really really quickly. It's,
Hmm.
it's just people are like, yeah, I don't want to play because we just know how that's gonna go. Huh? Is that how I want to do it? Yeah, I think I'll do that first. Oh, that's no, it's not. Whew, that had me nervous for a sec. I
Yeah, I'm
thought I
trying to
blundered
decide if I
mate.
want to use this or something else. Now that I've touched it, this is what I have to move.
No, no, you can untouch. You can touch another one. There's no touch rule in this, in the computer versions. Yeah, there you go. Okay, so now. Hmm. That's neat.
So the deals which survived from even though they overpaid it are the ones that focus on the asset management aspect, which means you operate your property the very, very best. You don't just stay on purely acquisition mode, but you stay on executing the business plan, which is asset management mode. So the important
Mm-hmm.
part there is to make sure that you're not neglecting the important say pieces, which is the first thing is net rental income. So you've got to have a good rent collected because that is a bread and butter. You can't collect it unless you take care of your residents. So my LinkedIn post today is about resident satisfaction. So you have better residents, happy residents because you took care of their work orders in a timely manner. Then what they will do is they will serve your residents. They will, therefore the residents will stay at the property. You'll have better retention, and that's going to lead to less expenses for you in terms of having to, let's say, turn the unit each time because residents stay because you've taken a good care of them.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And one thing that. Oh, right. So now you. Okay. So I wouldn't be able to. But I can do that. Yeah, let's do this. Yeah, I forgot where I was going. It was. Right. One thing that hit me when I started getting into the commercial real estate space was that it was a real aha moment. Is I'm concerned that there are a lot of people in this industry who they haven't spent any meaningful amount of time living in an apartment,
mhm.
and that's definitely a problem. Okay, so there
So
must be
for
something better.
me, I used to live in an apartment when I moved to this country. And so
Mm-hmm.
that's what I wrote about in actually a chapter of this book called Next Level Your Life, which, by the way,
Mm-hmm.
you could order on Amazon, is about how I missed that cul de sac feel in that apartment complex because I was going to a very expensive private school on a scholarship. So I saw
Mm-hmm.
how that expensive neighborhood, how life was there. That's what I'm trying to create in my communities today. But the second piece of it is I have a daughter who's in college. So I've been
Mm-hmm.
paying for her apartment for the last 3 years. So I know what it's like to be a renter. I know what it's like when my rent goes up. And I know what it's like when they come and ding us for every little, nickel and dime me for every little thing that goes around the property. Like, oh, you hung something over the door and there's a little problem there, kind of, aspects like that. And that's what really like bugs me is why are we nickel and diming for everything? So I actually find one thing very popular in my properties is this aspect of all inclusive.
Mm-hmm.
So we have a lot of residents who love that our deals are all inclusive, and so because of that, they love to stay. It also helps us when we're under some kind of like a Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac kind of program where we look at the average median income of certain residents, and they just love that these properties we can cover all of their bills with just one monthly payment from them, and that helps these residents budget for the tough times, right? And that makes our properties more popular with the lenders also, and our ceilings of how much we can increase that rent also improves because of that. So you've made a very good move there, mister. So I need to like figure out how I can cope with that. So
Yeah, yeah.
I need to do a better job of protecting my territory here. While I'm just going and chasing yours, I need to not neglect mine because now you've got a really good place to come and sort of do this whole checkmate thing. So that's important part of strategy is, do you have all your bases covered,
Yeah, yeah.
right?
It's you had me really, really worried for like this
Hmm.
entire game until
Yeah.
that one last spot.
I was like, I've got to
Uh,
keep up with what you're doing.
okay.
So,
Yeah, yeah. So, but actually, that's one thing that I found that's I think it's a little bit odd, frankly, about myself in this show. It's so, and I've been eager to figure out how do we like how do I share that? Like how do I explain uh, uh, this quirk I found? And the quirk I'm talking about is when on this show, because I'm looking at the game and I'm trying to keep the conversation moving and all that sort of stuff. I found the one misstep I keep on making is my opponent, so my guest will make some sort of comment of the setup, and then I'll be kind of blasé about it. It's like, oh yeah, yeah, of course, it's a tough position to be in, that sort of thing. And it's not a good look. But the thing I've been eager to explain and why I'm so glad that you mentioned it is that the like in order to get skillful at this game, I think you have to be able to rate your own rate your opponent's position as well as your own. So when somebody makes an observation about their own position, it's like, yeah, I've already been thinking about, all right, so what can I do to make it where there aren't a whole lot of moves available to you. So if I do that, yeah, let's try that instead.
I mean, this is a, really good position you've gotten yourself into. So now it's a matter of, okay, what can I do to reduce my risk?
Right. There's a term, and I think in German it's Zugzwang. Zugzwang, I think is what they call it, and it's a
Hmm.
chess term that means it's where you do a movement that's not all that important. Okay, but the reason why you do the move that's not very important is because it forces your opponent to do something that they really don't want to do.
Mm.
Like basically, like right now you're pretty safe, but I think the biggest risk that you have right this second is like anything you move will create a weakness.
Hmm.
So I think that's what it is. But also about chess and how it applies to real estate. Uh, I think it indicates a perseverance. Uh,
Hmm.
in other words, like how quickly will you just give up? Do you just say it's like, it just wasn't meant to be, or do you
Hmm.
hang on for everything that you can? Okay. So,
That's a good point is, how soon do you give up? How soon do you resign versus you keep the fight, you keep going.
right, right, exactly, exactly. So yeah, I'm really glad. I'm really glad that you mentioned it. The other one too is it also gets people off of script, and
Hmm.
especially if you interact with capital raisers. I find that
Hmm.
capital raisers are more than willing to promise the moon, and
Hmm.
then they're probably not going to. Oh, that was a blunder.
And there we go. That's the end of the move.
Yeah, yeah, I
I was
suppose, but
definitely distracted. So there you go, Dan. You win.
yeah, it's if you want to resign and do a rematch, we absolutely can.
I
It's over
definitely
there in the
resigned
women's.
because I wasn't paying attention.
All right. Yeah. So you see the button? It's to the right of the board. It's a little flag, and it says resign. And then I can hit you with a rematch.
It's a flag, you say.
Yeah, it's a flag. Yes.
I
If you
don't
hop
see
over,
them.
okay, if you hop over to StreamYard, I'm waggling my cursor over where you can find it.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Now
Yeah.
I
So
see it. It's below that
yeah.
score.
Yeah. But yeah, that was tough. Like I am really sweating right now, and
You did
I'll show you.
good. I loved it.
I'll, awesome, awesome. So let's do one more. We'll probably change colors. I think it's in the bottom right hand corner. You'll see this little red one with a little icon, and that's where you accept the rematch. And then after we've done one more, we can give everybody back the rest of their day. While we're at it, I should mention that Sandhya is super duper active on Facebook and on LinkedIn. Those are great ways to reach out. She does mentor inside a mastermind on asset management, those sorts of operations, how to find the different ways that you can reduce your expenses and increase revenue without basically that's what we were talking about earlier. It's like
Who
it
is
makes me
this? Am I playing with
cringe.
another person?
Oh, did you play a new one? Did you hit new instead
Yeah.
of the restart? Okay, well that's fine. We can give everybody back the rest of their day, and maybe I'll let you share your screen. Maybe I'll give you some pointers or
Uh-huh.
something like
All
that.
right. Sounds good.
But
That was
but you did a
fun. Thank
fantastic.
you.
Oh, definitely my pleasure. But as far as other things you want to mention, like is LinkedIn and
Mhm.
Facebook are the best ways to reach out, right?
Those are the best place to reach out to me. And then I'm in Dallas. So if you want to invest in apartments passively, or you want to join as a capital partner and learn the ropes of asset management, etc., definitely reach out to me. And then one of my favorite hobbies is travel. So if you just want to talk about great travels, that's another conversation piece. But thank you for this opportunity, Dan. This was fun.
For sure, for sure. I look forward to doing it again soon. And for you in the audience, if you want to do us a solid, you might want to hit the big hideous subscribe button on YouTube down there, because they still haven't paid me 1 red cent, those cheapskates. I'd love for them to pay for these videos instead of me. But if you are interested in appearing on Chess with Investors, or if you're in commercial real estate and you want to get a documented substantive relationship so that you can share 506B deals with me, then go to dandoesdeals.com. Also connect on LinkedIn. But thanks again, Sandhya. This has been super awesome.
Thank you.
Awesome.
You gonna stop the stream?
Does nothing but
Oh, yeah.
put more money in the pot.
Right.
If we talk about just the investor side, I mean, Shane talked about the sponsor side a little bit. I'll talk about the investor side. Okay, so you want the most money in terms of return with the least risk. All right, you want to do it yourself, you can go get 13 or 14%. You're going to do all the underwriting, it's not going to be passive.
If you bet, probably not.
I think I'd have to bet at least 2,500 before they fold.
And the pot is
4,000.
4,000. Yeah, I think you're right, but I'd rather just check.
Okay.
First position, you have the right of collection and the right of foreclosure or sheriff's sale, wherever you're at.